Have you ever felt like you're everyone's emotional 911? That friend who calls you at 2 a.m. with yet another crisis. The family member who turns every holiday into a dramatic showdown. The colleague who somehow makes their deadlines your emergency. Now, I know this might seem like a different topic than what we usually explore here on Codex of Reality, where we dive deep into breathwork, manifestation, and reality creation. But here's the thing. Everything is connected, and today, we're going to discover how the simple act of conscious breathing can literally free you from emotional manipulation and return you to your power as a conscious creator of your reality. Here's the truth nobody tells you. You're not their therapist. You're their aspirin. They don't want your wisdom. They want the quick hit of relief your attention provides. And just like any painkiller, they'll keep coming back for more, not because you're special, but because you work. Think of it like this. Every time they text you with a crisis and you immediately respond, you're paying out like a slot machine. Ding ding. Jackpot of attention. The more reliably you react, the more they'll pull your lever. But I'm just trying to be helpful, you might be thinking right now. Are you though? Or are you enabling someone to avoid facing their own stuff? Let me ask you something. Why does your stomach tighten when their name appears on your phone? Why do you rehearse conversations with them while you're in the shower? Why do you feel exhausted after interacting with them, like someone sucked the marrow from your bones? That's not friendship. That's not love. That's emotional vampirism. And you've been leaving your neck exposed for far too long. Here's what most boundaries advice gets wrong. They tell you to communicate your boundaries clearly, to use I feel statements, to express your needs gently but firmly. And how's that working out? If you're dealing with an emotional manipulator, stating your boundaries is like telling a burglar where you hide your valuables. They don't respect the line you draw, they see it as a challenge. So what's the alternative? Stop reacting. Start breathing. Watch them panic. It's that simple and that difficult. The next time they text you their latest catastrophe, don't respond immediately. Put your phone down. Place one hand on your belly, one on your chest. Breathe deeply. Feel your stomach push against your hand. Hold for a moment. Release slowly. Do this 5 times before you even consider picking up your phone again. When your partner starts the same argument for the 1,000th time, don't take the bait. Don't defend. Don't explain. Just breathe. Meet their escalation with calm. Their accusations with silence. Not cold, cruel silence. Just the quiet of someone who refuses to dance to manipulative music. If you find this advice helpful so far, do me a quick favor and smash that like button. It really helps the channel, and it tells me you want more content like this. Here's where it gets interesting, and where most people bail on the process. When you stop being an emotional slot machine, people will up their game. Think of a toddler whose usual tantrum isn't working. What do? They scream louder, they escalate, they pull out all the stops. Adults do the same thing, just with more sophisticated tactics. They'll say things like, "Are you mad at me?" Which really means, "I notice you're not rushing to manage my feelings, and it scares me." Or they'll hit you with, "You've changed," which translates to, "You're no longer predictably responding to my triggers." Sometimes they'll try the guilt trip with, "I guess I'll just handle this myself," which is really them testing if guilt will still work on you. And my personal favorite. "I've been going through a really hard time," which is code for, "Here's why you should feel bad for enforcing boundaries." This escalation isn't a sign you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're finally doing something right. Their panic is the sound of someone realizing their remote control isn't working anymore. Let me give you an example. My friend Megan had a mother who turned every minor disagreement into a health crisis. Chest pains, difficulty breathing, suddenly needing to lie down. For years, Megan would immediately backtrack, apologize, tend to her mother. Exactly the reaction her mother had conditioned her to provide. Then Megan started breathing instead of reacting. The first time her mother clutched her chest during an argument about Thanksgiving plans, Megan simply said, "I'm sorry you're not feeling well. If you think it's serious, we should call an ambulance. Otherwise, let's continue this conversation when you're feeling better." Then she calmly left the room. The chest pains mysteriously resolved within minutes. And after 3 more instances of the same calm response, those particular symptoms disappeared from her mother's repertoire entirely. The manipulation only works when it works. Fair warning: when you first start practicing the art of non-reaction, things will get worse before they get better. Much worse. Think of it like a video game. When you're approaching the boss, the monsters get bigger and the attacks more frequent. That's how you know you're going in the right direction. The emotional manipulator will cycle through their greatest hits. First, they'll try the emergency escalation where suddenly everything becomes a 5-alarm fire requiring your immediate attention. When that doesn't work, they'll move to what I call the guilt symphony. Those complex musical arrangements of, "After all I've done for you," and "I guess I just care more about this relationship." Then comes the recruitment drive, where they'll enlist mutual friends or family to check on you or talk some sense into you. If you're still not budging, they'll pull out the nostalgia play with lines like, "Remember when we used to be so close? What happened to that person I used to know?" And finally, when all else fails, they'll go for the direct attack. "You're selfish, you're cold, you're heartless now." Each of these is a test. Each is designed to see if they can still push the buttons they installed. Breathe through all of it. Not with cruelty, but with the calm certainty of someone who knows that reacting hasn't solved anything so far. So why not try something new? Here's the mind-blowing part. When you stop reacting, you discover a truth that changes everything. Their behavior was never actually about you. That friend who trauma dumps on you, they don't value your specific wisdom. They just need a witness, any witness, to validate their pain. That partner who picks fights before every important event in your life, they're not actually angry about the dishes or your tone of voice. They're terrified of being overshadowed. That parent who calls with problems they could easily solve themselves, they're not incompetent. They're afraid of irrelevance. By not reacting, you're holding up a mirror. You're returning their projections to sender. And most people will do anything, including doubling down on manipulation, to avoid seeing themselves clearly. The beautiful thing about this approach is that it sorts people into 2 very clear categories. 1, those who are capable of genuine connection. 2, those who are only interested in what you could do for them. The first group might initially struggle with your new boundaries. They might feel hurt or confused. But ultimately they'll adjust because they value you, not just your reactions. The second group will either escalate to unsustainable levels and then disappear from your life entirely, or they'll be forced to develop healthier ways of relating. Either outcome is a win for you. If you're still watching at this point, you're clearly someone who's ready for real change in your relationships. You're not looking for quick fixes or band-aid solutions. You're willing to do the uncomfortable work of genuine transformation. That makes you different. And that's exactly why I'd love for you to hit that like button right now and subscribe if you haven't already. This channel is for people like you who are ready to go deeper. It's like cleaning out a cluttered house. For a while, it looks worse as everything gets pulled out of closets and from under beds. But once the trash is removed and what remains is organized, you can finally breathe in your own space. This isn't a technique you try once and master. It's a practice, a daily recommitment to your own emotional sovereignty. Start small. Pick one person or situation where you normally react instantly. Commit to pausing and taking 5 deep breaths before responding. Notice how it feels in your body to interrupt the automatic pattern. When you feel yourself getting pulled into someone else's emotional vortex, visualize yourself as a mountain. Weather systems, their emotions may pass around you, clouds, rain, lightning, but the mountain remains unmoved. Your breath is your anchor to the present moment, to reality, to your own experience rather than the experience someone else is trying to create for you. And here's where this connects to everything we talk about on this channel. When you're constantly reacting to other people's emotional chaos, you're literally giving away your creative power. You're allowing someone else's low-frequency energy to dictate your reality, instead of consciously creating from your own center. Every time you breathe deeply instead of reacting, you're not just setting a boundary, you're reclaiming your role as the deliberate creator of your experience. You're choosing to operate from your authentic frequency rather than being pulled into someone else's drama vortex. So the next time you feel that familiar tension, the tightening in your chest when their name appears on your phone, the knot in your stomach when they start a sentence with, "We need to talk," remember, stop reacting, start breathing. Watch them panic, watch them adjust. Watch them leave, or watch them grow. Watch yourself become free, because you were never responsible for managing their emotions in the first place. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end of this video. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear this message today. Drop a comment below, sharing your experience with emotional manipulators and how you've handled them. I read every comment and would love to hear your story. And if you want more content on setting healthy boundaries and reclaiming your emotional freedom, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Until next time, keep breathing. And remember, your peace is non-negotiable.